I was still waiting.
Hi, I'm Austin Arthur.
And I'm Taylor Patton, and welcome to the Kitchen Table Podcast.
We're here to motivate, educate, and relate to you guys, sharing our stories, helping you get 1% better in all areas of your life. Welcome to the first episode of 1440 for season number 2. We're talking about leadership tonight, today,
This morning, this afternoon.
any time of day, it don't matter. We're here for it. So we're going to talk about leadership. We were supposed to have Captain Nate Hager on, but long story short is he got COVID, and we're going to have him on another time and have a full episode with him because he's so great. So shout out to you, Nate. But instead, since he got COVID...
Until then, feel better.
Yes. And basically what we went and did is we talked about what leadership is, and I kept saying that leadership, people don't actually know the real definition of it. And Taylor got mad because he wanted to look on Google. We looked on Google, but I didn't look on Google. So then I asked a bunch of people. I was like, what is the definition of leadership to you, and what is a leader?
I'm not getting mad. You just said Google wasn't good enough. And then we read off a Google website.
But that was a website.
Then I was like the contradictory.
Anyways,
The hypocrisy around here.
I asked what leadership is, all right? So, couple things. Mr. Kyler Yotes
Great guy.
said, doing the things that aren't asked to be done, they do them. Talked a lot about that at you and I. Like, nobody wants to clean the racks and stuff, but a leader does that, does the dirty work, does the extra work, right? And not because they want to do it for attention, but because they genuinely just need to get things done.
And it just shows that, like, you're willing to do the things that you ask others to do.
Yeah, and I think the thing that he brought it back to was how can you do things, or what do you do when nobody's looking, essentially?
Yeah.
So, like, do you do things for an audience, or do you do things to make things better, or be a better person?
I like how he ties like leadership and character together.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think that's definitely important. I think I don't know how you can say somebody's character is better or worse. But like, I think to have better character makes you a better leader, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Just standing up for the values and the morals that you have.
Yeah. Makes you a better leader right there.
Yeah. If you're willing to give in to like what you stand for, then you won't really stand for it.
Something else we talked about in our regular episode this week. So if you haven't listened to it, go check it out. But Jacob Reed, another great guy, says somebody who has good people skills. I know you talked a lot about how it matters to have the kind of laissez-faire or get to know your people a little bit more. You want to explain more on that?
Yeah, to basically understand the ins and outs and the in-betweens of your people.
Yeah.
Or just people around you. Or just people in general.
Yeah, and he basically said that that's what makes, like, it helps you get that task completed that you're trying to do, whatever it is.
Yep.
If everybody's on the same page or you know people, which I think is important. Again, with the values and the core, you need the core. Without the core, nothing else works.
Yeah, when you have a relationship, even if it's just a basic one, people are willing to do a lot more for you in your company, your business, or anything that's like you want, essentially, just because you have a relationship.
Yeah, and just do it for the good of the cause.
Yeah. Which
essentially what my brother said with leadership, and he said basically that it's the quality of people to get others to willingly pursue a specific goal. So Kyler, Jacob, and Ryan are all kind of hitting on the same things, just in different ways, which I think is interesting because I would say those are all very genuine people who I would say have probably reflected on the question a little bit when I asked them. They just didn't come out with an answer. And I think that it shows what's important. If you just say, like, first, like the example we read from the Google definitions, right? It was basically
lead.
Yeah, it was like lead to a goal or something like that. It was the most basic thing ever.
Yeah. I just don't like when definitions have the word.
Yeah, you're not supposed to.
Yeah,
it's like a no-no.
What's Google do? Puts the word in. And I was like,
So I think to have a little more depth is nice.
Yeah.
No, I had something else I was going to say.
The more depth, the more general, like genuine it is.
Yeah,
Say
I
that.
agree.
Bit more. Still don't forget. Okay, next. We got a few of these, don't we?
Yeah, there's a bunch of them.
So I thought we got a lot of good people around us.
Yes.
Or people that just respond to questions.
Yeah. So, so my fiance basically said how, again, she talked about the people, and she talks about how you have to have everybody kind of on the same page to reach that goal. And I think that, again, I think the core is so important because
Did she not? You didn't get like a text from her?
it's a text. I just got everything memorized. It's so far up in the text.
You just said you got everything memorized, and then you kind of just like paraphrase what she said.
Yeah, it's
like I got it memorized.
She said something. It's so. I did save it, but let me see if I took a picture of it. It's so far up now.
You're out here like I memorized it.
It's so far up, but because everybody, I had it all planned out because these first like 5 are all very similar to each other.
Okay.
How we hit on the podcast about the core values, the people, reach a common goal, give everybody a role, make them feel important. Like they all said similar things.
I'm gonna be defensive to me.
You're the one who's attacking me.
No. I was just pointing out a flaw.
Yes.
You said I have it memorized, and you just basically
it wasn't.
paraphrased
I had.
what she said.
Okay, I don't have word for word memorized. I remember what she said.
Thank you for taking accountability and ownership.
Yes, I don't remember
all I
exactly
know.
what she said, but I know that everybody's definition in the first ones I'm reading were relatively similar.
Okay.
And the main points were they cared about the values of a human being.
Yep.
They had a common goal that they wanted to achieve. And they led in a way that's not like a dictator. Right?
Yes.
They gave them like exploration, I guess. And then we start to branch off a little bit.
Uh-oh.
Right? There's 2 more that I think are maybe, shout out to my parents, maybe the best definitions of leadership that I have ever heard because it really goes into depth, like I said earlier. Number 1, let me tell you what I think or what you think of this one.
Yeah.
Leadership is a quality that one possesses, either naturally or formed, that others around them strive to achieve greatness without the leader having to hold those around them to uphold their best qualities. Meaning, the leader doesn't have to make them have their best qualities, that the person wants to have the best qualities for themselves. Basically, what I was trying to say in the 5K. So if you haven't heard the episode...
Okay, that's what you're trying to say, but that is absolutely not what happened.
So, what do you think of that?
I like it.
I just think it's very genuine. That's what my dad said. Strive. There's some key words in here. Strive to achieve greatness without the leader having to hound those around them to reach it.
Yeah.
Meaning you find that person on the team that you want. And they're going to naturally want to they're intrinsically motivated.
Yeah.
That's a great skill to have.
Yeah, because if you're hounding someone to obtain or hold something, then there's a missing part.
Yeah,
in the structure and the communication.
Again, we talk about the core. The core could be a small company. It could be one person. It could be 2 people. It could be Amazon and be hundreds of thousands of people, right?
Yeah.
If that one person messes up, then everything's messed up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So once you get that core and you start building out further and further, that core needs to expand. You need people who are committed, who are built into it.
Yeah. I like the possessed skill.
They possess a skill.
Yeah. And then like we talk about like natural versus
formed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where like I think like natural you have more like a raw talent for it,
Mm-hmm.
where like formed for me is where like you can hone it in.
Yeah.
Where raw is like you really have to
put effort into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that where like if you have to build it from the beginning instead of just having a possession of it,
Yeah.
then you can build it into how you want it and how you need it.
You also realize it a lot more when you have to build it, though.
Yeah.
Like if it's just natural, like it just goes, like you don't really reflect on it as much.
I'd also be like, if you have a natural
or if you really care about it too.
Yeah, if you have a natural skill set for leadership, which is awesome, great in that, you also have more of a obligation to understand the meaning of it.
Oh, I agree.
Because if not, if you just have a natural raw talent for leadership, you're more likely to A, not care, and B, influence and lead people in negative ways. And that, where if you have more of a formed leadership skill set, you're 98% of the time, like, you're leading or forming it in a positive manner, because like you identify it as a skill set you need or want.
Yeah, and I would go back to the caring part. Like, again, my fiance cares to help people. That's literally like what her calling would be to do. So she's like, for our relationship, I would say I make more of the calls. But for her job, everybody thinks she's like a natural born leader, because she cares so much about the patients and keeping it flowing, that she like just naturally flips the switch and she's like, we gotta like make this and this happen today. Whereas she's a little more laid back in our relationship, because she doesn't need to be so far like taking charge, you know what I mean? Like, it's a little more like give and take, versus like her at her job, she's got to be on top of things, because it makes a huge difference in the person's quality of life, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Right? So I think some of your life can be formed and some of your life is just natural.
Correct.
So I think it's good to have some of both. I think that makes you a more
I'd say
overall human being.
And with that, I guess I should add, like, the younger you
learn that, the better. Yeah.
And that, especially when you have like mentors or like parents, like people around you that can point it out and help direct it, you're setting you up for success.
I definitely agree. I like setting up for success. That's a good quote. All right, the last one is probably the best definition. We got 2 minutes left. Best definition of leadership I personally have ever heard. And I've been telling people about this for the last couple weeks, and it's just exciting. So this is what my mom said. She's a social worker, right? So she obviously thought about this.
Nice.
I think leadership is supporting and encouraging others to extend themselves beyond what they believe they are capable of, while not asking anything from them that you couldn't or wouldn't be willing to do. Being a positive influence and example for others to be the best version of themselves that they are capable of. And I would add my dad's onto that, and not hounding them to have to want to do that. That is a quality leader for sure.
Yeah.
And I would say the person who's chasing greatness, who you're so-called leading, is probably the second best leader ever. If you really think about it. Because they're leading themselves, and then they're influencing and motivating others, right?
Yeah.
Is that not a great freaking definition?
I love it.
Just like extending beyond their capability that they think.
Which, is, and that's why, like, again, like, I'm not in the military. Like, that's probably like my one and only regret that I didn't do, was go like the military route. But I think that's why the military is so successful, is because they push people beyond what they think is capable. Yeah,
which is so. I mean, think about mentally how much you change and stuff just by being in the military.
Yeah,
it's amazing. A great coach challenges you